And it's 1 o'clock Central European time, 12 o'clock in the UK, and I've forgotten the Rachel time, but it's silly o'clock in Rachel Brunsden time. It's definitely silly o'clock. This is Postcard from Poprad, the last one of the year, oh my word, and it's all snow on the mountains. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that just wonderful? Thank you ever so much to everybody for Christmas. It's been wonderful. And now I have to go to Leigh Banks. You just can't...
How can I help you?
You just can't make it up, can you?
Who are you talking to? No, you're talking to me.
I'm talking to you. I didn't turn your fader up.
Oh, right. No, you can't make it up, can you?
No. Oh, I go from glory to the toilet.
We're not supposed to be doing toilet humour.
Why?
Well, because this is the end of 2016. We're supposed to treat it with dignity and style and aplomb.
The plum?
No, that's the noise you're talking about in the toilet.
Oh, right. Oh, I get it now. I think. I'm not sure.
We've got 3 guests here.
Have you?
Yeah, we've got 3 guests. We're in Scotland for New Year, and we have 3 Scottish people who'd like to say hello to our millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of listeners.
We will do that in a moment after we've welcomed Rachel Brunsden.
Hey, you're right. It is silly o'clock.
What time is it, Rach?
It's 11 p.m.
Oops.
It's all right.
Well, no, it's okay because
7 p.m. That's because Australia changes its time all the time.
It's because we're in the future, Uncle Leigh.
I know you are. You're in the future. I'm just in the past now.
You've always been in the past. That's no new news.
Soon I'll be in a different year to you.
No.
Can we say hello to our guest now?
What do you reckon, Rach?
Oh, all right.
Right, here we are. We've got here.
Who we got?
We've got Jamie Atkinson.
Hello, Jamie Atkinson.
Hi there, everyone.
Yeah, how's it going? Are you enjoying yourself? He's are you manager or
Supervisor.
He's a supervisor at the hotel, which I've forgotten the name of. What's the name of the hotel we're at?
Crotherland House Hotel.
Crotherland House Hotel.
You can't say it, can you, Mr. Banks?
No, because it's got too many r's in it. Yeah. And then we've got with us, we've got Kirstine McKenzie.
Oh.
Say hello.
Hi.
Now that really does sound like a wonderful name.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
That's nice.
He's so sweet.
He's
You want to
lovely.
see him? He's horrible. Yeah. And then we have with us
Jeanette Smith.
Jeanette Smith. They're all pressing their bosoms towards me so I can read the signs on the chest.
Hang on, what is the guy doing with a badge on his chest?
Well, he's just my friend.
Yeah, right. Watch
Supervisor.
it. What? You're supervising. Watch out. He used to be friends with George Michael once.
That's a terrible thing to say. Who, me?
Yeah.
Or Jamie?
No, you.
Well, actually, I was. Yeah, he was nice. It's so sad, isn't it?
Yeah. He's a bit, but there's a bit of a overkill, I think.
Well, I think.
Oh, God, I'm going to hang up.
Why?
What's up, dear?
Why?
That was obnoxious, Uncle Eric. Come on now, we're not going to start in on that already, are we? We haven't even done the nice story. Good grief. George Michael bashing so early in the programme.
I'm not bashing
He
him.
wasn't bashing George Michael. He was bashing the BBC for shutting down every programme they could to talk about George Michael. And the reason they did it is because the whole of the BBC is gay.
Well, quite a large proportion you could be right about. But
Which is a wonderful thing and a valid choice.
Well, why didn't they? No, I'll come on to that in a minute. I'm not going to go
All
there
right,
yet.
then.
I'm not going to go there yet.
Being gay, I
So
think.
please explain to us, Uncle Leigh,
Yes,
why
ma'am.
you are in Scotland.
Well, my son Luke.
Deported.
It's the first stop to Australia. I'm coming out on the Clyde Bank in a few minutes. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Go on.
Oh, look, my son Luke has just got married to the wonderful Victoria, and they had the wedding. Now, I know this sounds a bit the wrong way around, but they had their wedding and then the christening of their son in Glasgow. So we came up to celebrate that. And now we're staying over to have a Scottish New Year, but as a Mancunian abroad, I've been told not to go into Scotland because there's a big football match on, and at New Year, and a Mancunian abroad could then easily end up as not Mr. Popular.
Well, this is very,
That sounds
very
like
true.
a new TV show. That sounds like it could be a TV show. We should pitch that to someone.
I think you're right, actually. But hang on a minute.
In abroad.
Hang on a minute. You just said that it was unusual for there to be a wedding followed by a christening.
I said, actually,
Madonna
that's
did-
quite right. But I think it's the period. No, that's the... Oh, dear, it's gone wrong again. It's the time limit between getting married and the christening. It's usually 9 months or a year or 2 years. This was like 30 seconds. That was immaculate. Absolutely immaculate conception.
No, but that's
It's usually before, isn't it?
that's normal here.
What? You get pregnant and then get married?
No, you get married, then you do the christening of the baby.
Oh, I see. Yeah, slightly different in this case, but that I understand what you're saying, yes.
Yeah, it's just like...
Madonna did.
It's just normal.
Interesting.
Anyway, we're going to let Rachel start off because she found this story, and I think it is just a lovely story. It really is beautiful.
Yeah,
It is.
I
and
saw this story when she said, yeah, it is a nice story.
I found this story when, in between George Michael and Carrie Fisher passing away. And I thought, do you know what? We need some good news in 2016. It's a lovely story. There's a 96-year-old Second World War veteran, and his name is Cyrus Porter. And Taylor Swift popped in and did a little concert for him. How cool is she?
Well, I was
love
going to
her.
say, how cool is he?
Well,
He's
yeah.
cooler. Cool. Much cooler. And I mean, really, it was her Christmas miracle, not his. But yeah, he was a big fan, and she got wind of it and turned up at his house to do a little impromptu concert. And he got up. Have you seen the video?
It's stunning.
priceless.
And
It's
I
beautiful.
also noticed he got a little affectionate kiss as well.
Oh, that's sweet. I've not seen the video. We don't have videos in Scotland.
Oh, bless.
You're going to be so
Maybe
much.
someone could draw you a flicker book or something.
Will somebody just slap him now? Don't you?
No,
be
they've
so-
left. They've gone.
But they probably could be listening.
No. Well, I've told them to. I've written it down for them, but they got upset by your toilet humour, so they left.
Mine? My toilet humour?
I've gone to listen to the BBC.
Yeah, see if there's anything else on about Michael Thing.
Oh my lord, my lord,
But
my lord.
this lovely vet, his daughter, this is the best quote I've ever heard. His daughter, Lynette Fowler, said he was excited. He was like dancing to the beat. What he thought was the beat. Music and having a great time with it.
It
It's a lovely
doesn't.
story.
I think that's just.
Oh, I got one more quick bit of good news.
Go on.
Because everybody's dying. There was a birth, and just in the nick of time, lovely pop artist Pink had her second baby on Boxing Day.
Oh,
I like
This
Pink.
is not.
I
I
do.
do too.
Yeah. Oh, that was better, Rach. You were loud then for a minute.
Was I? Oh.
Yeah. No need.
So, this old chap was dancing at 96.
Yeah,
Yeah, he got
brilliant.
up and shook his booty.
he did.
It's it, and let's face it, 96 is the new 69.
I knew he was going to
That's
do
true.
that. I knew he was going to go there.
What? What's wrong with that then?
Nothing. Nothing. I'm just not going there on the day before New Year's Eve. I'm just not doing
That's
it.
right.
It's
Any
probably
other time of the year's fine.
now. Seriously, I sent a note out to the guys this morning because I kind of got a bit annoyed over the 2016 period because whenever we've lost a lot of people this year, and I have to say, being totally truthful, it's one of those things that comes to an age group when you're getting older, your heroes are getting older, and I'm sorry, we all have to go into a box one day, and because that's the way it works, unfortunately. I wouldn't want to be 150 anyway, but that's another story. And the thing that got up my nose a little bit is the amount of negativity rather than positivity about these people passing, because so many of them have actually left a huge legacy behind them.
Absolutely.
Massive.
I got
What is it
annoyed
about?
I got annoyed with a particular Scotsman about a lot of negativity about one George Michael, and I thought, you know what, I don't want to read this. I want to hear about how wonderful and full and great their lives were and why people are so sad. I don't want to hear about, drugging and drinking. I mean, I know that's a reality.
Yeah.
But let's celebrate someone's life, not throw darts at them.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure who the Scotsman is you're referring to, but if he is a member of the British press, then we have to accept that, yes, they pointed out he was alcoholic, that he'd had quite a rumbustious life, but they also pointed out what beautiful and wonderful charity work he'd done and he carried out and how he'd gifted people behind the scenes. They'd given somebody $15,000 for hospital treatment. He looked after different people. Basically, George Michael, he wasn't the sort of musician I particularly liked to listen to, but he was a consummate performer and quite good at it. He had his demons, and the problem is, if you're an artist, you're likely to have demons.
Yeah, no, this person wasn't a member of the British press, just an opinionated Scotsman. But
I know exactly who you mean.
Yeah, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I just don't see the point of stamping on someone's grave.
The attack you're referring to was absolutely shameful.
Well, it's
it
ridiculous.
was, and I actually have gotten rid of that person because I don't want to read their negative stuff anymore. I want to fill my timeline with joyousness.
Yeah, well,
I agree. I
don't know if you both read it, but I kind of got the same thing, and I ended up having a wee rant on my Facebook page.
You did. It was awesome.
Thank you. Because people were just driving me nuts. Moan. And the fact is, we don't have to be negative all the time about everything. Why can't we catch somebody doing something good?
But isn't it
indicative? The thing about
being
negative about these sort of things is that the only person that really affects and gets and makes you sick inside and sad is the person writing it. And I don't want any part of it. I want no part of that kind of bad vibe going on. If it's good news, I mean, I know about the reality. We all live in the reality of it. But I want to fill my day with good news after the atrocious year we've had.
Well, actually, you've just given me a brilliant idea, Rachel.
What's that?
Oh, good.
Absolutely brilliant idea. Throughout 2016, which I haven't mentioned anywhere, I've been having a cull of idiot websites, false news websites, and I've just blocked them all. Now, it has to be said, my news thingy on Facebook has decreased quite dramatically, but what I get is not always positive news, but genuine news, and there is a huge difference. So all those numpties out there that have been putting up these what are basically bogus websites. And boys and girls, when you post these sites on Facebook, you are making the owner of that site very, very, very rich. Because what they do is they have adverts on there, people click on them, and they make oodles of money at it. So they're actually they're conning you left, right and centre.
He's quite right. Go to the Consumer Watch Foundation and read that, because that's really, really honest, straightforward, good news sometimes, bad news when it's necessary, and tells things straight.
Well, I want to talk about that a little bit later on as well, Leigh, but we'll come to that in a minute. So unfortunately, we started off the year with David Bowie at 69 leaving us, and Bowie's got such a legacy. A legacy. What's your favourite Bowie track, Rach?
Starman.
Really? Who? Which one?
Starman. There's a Starman.
Oh, Starman. Sorry, it's that dingo accent sometimes confuses.
And yours, Leigh?
My favourite has to be Will You Stay in My Lover's Story. I can't remember its title, but it's Will You Stay in My Lover's Story. That one.
And do you know what? I have to say, for the sheer creativity of it, and people take the mickey out of this track all the time. But you know what? To put this track together, get it in the charts, for the funniest thing ever is the Laughing Gnome.
Yes,
it is just genius.
He did the last album he did and I can't remember the name of that album though. It was the most harrowing album I've ever heard, but yet so powerful and dramatic and thought-provoking and dignified.
Yeah.
He's such a good storyteller too.
Absolutely.
We'll club a few together here so you guys can have a quick chat about it. But we've got Alan Rickman, Glenn Fry, Jimmy Bain, and Frank Finlay as well.
Yeah. See, they were older though, weren't they? They were. You'd expect these people to shuffle off this mortal coil at the age of 89 and things like that. But the younger ones, it's right.
Excuse me, the younger ones, Glenn Fry.
Yeah, that's quite young
like
to me.
him, yeah. Well, like Billy Paul, 80. Only 80.
They were
Guy
sick.
Clark.
Like, if they were sick, I get it. If they were younger and sick, I get it. But when somebody's aorta just bursts, it's quite shocking. You know,
It is, actually.
If they weren't sick and if they're in their 60s, to me that's very young. And
Just to Eric now.
And they just, and they drop dead.
You're catching me up, Mr. Banks. I will tell you a lovely little story about Terry Wogan, because there was his radio and television persona was this really caring, warm guy.
Yeah.
And the fact is, he was like that. That was him normally. And I was actually sitting in Bush House, which is the old home of the BBC World Service and where the BBC Club used to be. And I was sitting there because I wasn't long with the BBC at that point. I hadn't got a special ID, so I had to get carried upstairs to the hallowed heights. And so I was sitting there waiting for somebody. And in walks Mr. Wogan and plonks himself down, announces the fact he's waiting for somebody. So they call through for Sir Terry, and it was all lovely. And he just sat there and he said, "Hello." And I went, "Hello, sir." And he said, "No, I'm not, sir. I'm Terry. Who are you?" I said, "I'm Eric." "What do you do?" So I told him, and he said, "Oh, yes, I read about that in the BBC Monitor magazine. So you're doing it." And he went on, and he knew everything I was doing.
That's a classy guy.
I have to say, I met him. I might be putting the cat amongst the pigeons here, and people might hate me for saying this, but I've met him twice. Once I met him while he was in the process of making his morning show. And he was, to be fair, it was a big show, and he had a lot of things going on around him. He had a lot of people to deal with, and he had a lot of things to put across. But he was quite an arrogant man while he was making his show, I'm afraid to say. Certainly on the occasion while I was in the studio while he was doing it. And then I met him once in Spain where he was golfing. And actually then he was, like you say, very affable. He wasn't standoffish.
I've got to admit, when you're doing... and for anybody that thinks this all just sort of falls out of air and happens, this particular programme, if somebody tries to talk to me in the couple of hours before Poprad, Postcard from Poprad, they ain't going to get anything out of me at all. Now,
it's worth trying, though, because it's really funny to wind him up.
Shut up.
It's very perfunctory, isn't it, Uncle Eric?
Yes.
You're in a zone in your mind somewhere else, and you're not meaning to be rude to anybody, but you've got things to do, and there's a real time limit.
Well,
yeah,
I actually, seriously, I remember I heard Petra's voice, because I heard another voice, and it didn't gel. I was just there. And then I heard Petra say, "Don't talk to him right now. He won't even hear you." And she's absolutely right. So I think there is a bit of a misnomer where arrogance is seen as being absolute in the zone concentration, and I'm sure it does come across wrong, but I think it's just
I agree with you 100%. But he did have this edge to him that you can explain it away as professionalism, like when I'm writing, woe beside anybody who tries to speak to me.
You're arrogant too, then.
I am incredibly arrogant. I am known for my arrogance. I am known as Leigh Arrogant Banks.
That figures. Maurice White from Earth, Wind and Fire, they were a great band.
Great band.
Absolutely.
That was our illustrious chairman's favourite band.
And still is.
I know.
That and he's into a bit of reggae as well now and again. He does like Bob Marley.
Reggae, sorry.
Reggae. He does like Bob Marley. Then, of course, we had Harper Lee to Kill a Mockingbird, the author thereof.
Very romantic story. Very romantic.
Well, lovely book.
Yeah.
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 It's the romance of the writer, isn't it, Rachel? Harper
Yes, it
Lee.
is.
Most people thought she was a man. She disappeared from view. Nobody saw her for 50 years. She lived out in the Saragoti Mountains. I can't remember, somewhere bizarre anyway. And never ever courted publicity. Was famous as being. And then she came out with this new book, only the second book she ever wrote. Published it, sold like fantastic, then dropped dead.
Good Lord.
That's the life of a writer.
She's a really interesting lady. If you read about her, she was very, very dear friends with Truman Capote.
Yeah.
And was side by side with him when he was writing his book In Cold Blood.
Oh, right.
And the book that sent him mad, really. And she was just what an extraordinary friend she was too, because he was a handful. Gosh.
Was he?
For a little
Little
guy, a
hat,
real handful.
because he was only 4'7".
Yeah. Then later on in February, Frank Kelly from Father Ted. He died along with George Kennedy and Tony Warren, who's. If you will know Tony Warren, I assure you, boys and girls, because somewhere around the world you will have at some stage seen Coronation Street. And he was the creator of that, and you got to admit, whether you like it or don't like it, I'm not really into those sort of soaps at all. I used to love watching Prisoner Cell Block H, of course, but I'm such a creep. But Coronation Street doesn't do a thing for me, but it does for Leigh, doesn't it?
I love Coronation Street. Oh, I'm a Mancunian. I'd be. It's like an Englishman not liking the national anthem. You've got, if you're from Manchester, you've got to like Coronation Street. But there was Tony Warren, another incredibly romantic and tragic writerly story. He was a gay man when it wasn't really permissible to be gay. He had one idea for this backstreet soap. It was just a one-off drama as far as he was concerned. He'd never sold anything before. He never really sold anything afterwards. He fought like hell to get it on air. The Granada fell out with him. He fell out with them. And finally, he managed to get his name pinned to that show for posterity.
Which is lovely, really. And
good writerly story, yeah.
Yeah, and a story which you can really say brings the whole world together as a very small world. We have an English group in Poprad, and the idea is to help people practice their English. And in walks this couple one night, and I'm just sitting there, and this gentleman says to me, you do know I work with George Martin. And what? Yeah, I played on Hey Jude and many other tracks. And I went, do what? He said, yeah, you know I play the French horn, Eric. I said, yeah. He said, well, I was in the orchestra. And I went, good Lord. And we'll talk about small world. And there I was sitting to the bloke who was playing on Hey Jude.
What was his name? Oh, George Martin.
No. No. His name is, I think, Jeff. And he comes to the club whenever he's in Slovakia.
Jeff.
And he
Tell us your name, because he's forgotten.
Yeah, and he lives in Germany with his lovely wife Maria, and every time they pop over to their house they have in Slovakia, they always come to the club. And just saying how relaxed and chilled out George Martin always was. Very cool guy.
Until his house burned down, his studio.
Well, that's true. Then of course, we had.
I just interrupt for 1 sec. I know that we're not really doing prominent Australians that died this year because they won't mean anything to anybody much.
There's no prominent Australians.
But I'm going to hang up again.
Just hit him, Rach. Rach, hang on, hold on, Rach. Ready? Listening?
Yeah.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Got him.
There you go. Right
You missed.
Go on, Rach.
There was a magnificent musician called John English who passed away on March the 9th this year. And I think technically it's March the 8th where you guys live, so same day as George Martin, let's say that.
Yeah.
But he was a wonderful musician, and another one who got sick, but we didn't know he was sick, and then just died in his 60s. Great song called Hollywood 7, if you want to whack that on YouTube.
Yep.
Brilliant song, brilliant guy, lovely.
Absolutely.
Really lovely, magnificent guy, really a stellar human being. I only met him once, but he was so friendly and so kind, and he was just a wonderful man, and he sadly passed away. But I'm not going to interrupt with any more Australians.
Who was he?
Why? You actually,
Rach,
Rach, I'm going to chastise you now. I'm going to do a chastising job. You belittle your Australian stars, dear.
Well, I know, but Vivian Gray, Mrs. Mangle from Neighbours, we lost her.
No, is she dead?
Yeah, she died. She died a few months ago, and there was also the wonderful and incomparable sports commentator, particularly cricket commentator, and fast bowler Max Walker, who died.
Absolutely.
Horrendous
Yeah.
to everybody,
definitely.
but they're the three biggies for us.
Well, you haven't mentioned a name I don't know, so you are belittling them.
Oh well, I don't know.
doesn't know it.
I didn't want to make a thing about it. I just wanted to get John English in there.
and you don't forget, darlings, there's an awful lot of Australian people in Europe who do listen to this programme.
Well, that's true too. So I take back my previous remarks.
So put some more in, is what I'm saying to you. One of
Say
the
something. Just something fresh and bright and exciting that's just this second happened.
yeah.
What?
It is really. It's just interesting. Because we were going to a wedding, I bought myself a really expensive shirt. It's a Roman original. And do you know how this is what's in the advertising thing on it? It says, this exceptional piece was designed with you in mind, which is a lie, obviously, for a long-term friendship.
Right.
It's a shirt!
Wow.
Can
I'm not being friends with my shirt!
Can I use a
No.
Can I teach you some Slovak again?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a wonderful phrase for things like that, and it's so easy to say.
Yeah.
For those sort of comments, I would reply "acho,"
Acho.
Acho.
Oh, this was
Acho.
and it means
Acho.
and
Roman original.
what
Acho.
and what. And it
Yeah.
sums it up beautifully. Another rock legend left us in March, which was Keith Emerson. And, of course, Jerry Anderson's partner, Sylvia, she died, and she played the role of Lady Penelope, which I cannot do, but occasionally I've been known to do, yes, my lady, for Parker. But my voice, even with tight trousers on, won't go up to her beautiful...
I can try.
Go on, then. Can you do Lady Penelope?
Yes.
Go on, then.
Bring around the car, Parker.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
Wow! I think you deserve a round of sandwiches for that.
I don't eat bread anymore.
Yeah, because you're not going to get any applause.
I don't eat bread anymore.
No, you don't, do you? You're so good.
Here, let me do one and see if you can guess who it is.
What?
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can fly.
Orville.
Yeah! Orville!
Orville the duck.
Orville the duck.
Orville the... It's amazing, isn't it?
fly.
Isn't it funny how he does
The whole
Sooty?
time now.
He does Sooty and Sweep and Orville.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
No, it's not that time yet.
Oh, sorry.
People are
Here,
going to
every-
turn up.
Oh,
You stupid boy. Frank Sinatra Jr. Died at the age of 72, which is never so bad. Never so bad.
70 to 90, you think, well, it's a bit short, but it's all right. Over 90, you think, well, I'm a bit knackered now. But, yeah, below 70 in this day and age.
Well,
it's still-
can I throw in another kind of radio comment?
Yes.
Yeah, you're on the radio, dear.
Oh, right, okay. And it was once said to me by a BBC executive, one of the,
Yes.
the director level type people. And he said, do you know, Eric, your style of broadcasting is quite interesting. So I said, really? And I'm sort of like puffing my chest up
That's
going,
really sad, isn't it, that it was only quite interesting.
well, no, I was puffing my chest up at that. That's a good comment. So I said, how's that then? He said, well, people love it.
Yeah.
People hate it. And people love to hate it. And I kind of think, yeah. And I think Paul Daniels fits into that one beautifully as well. Because he was a beautiful magician. You're going to like this. Not a lot. Was Paul Daniels' catchphrase. But he was just a gem of a magician. So cool.
He was. Of course he was, yeah.
And I could not understand why people were very polarised about him. It just lost me completely.
Because there was something about him which was implicitly dislikable. and he was a bit annoying, and he was a bit irritating, and he was a bit little and a bit not very attractive, and he pulled that glorious bird.
Well, that's true. Patty Duke died at 69 years of age, and she was one of your favourites, wasn't she, Rach?
Yeah, and mostly, I mean, she was, if you've ever seen the original black and white in the 60s, Miracle Worker with Anne Bancroft, it was just the most stunning piece of work, and I'm pretty sure she walked away with an Oscar for that. But she's mum to Sean Astin, who was best known, I guess, for the Goonies movie, and also he was Samwise Gamgee in the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
That's true.
But the reason why I love her so much is because she had bipolar disorder and was a huge ambassador for mental illness and advocate, and she used to speak really honestly and frankly about it, and she was just stunning. All the great YouTube lectures that she gave on manic depression, bipolar disorder, whatever you want to call it. But you know, as a sufferer myself, I'm a managed sufferer, but it was very inspirational to see her stories.
You've done it now, right? That's the thing I was coming at the beginning. So many of these people were actually inspirational for others.
Yeah,
very much.
And I think so. And I mean, even the lovely Ronnie Corbett. Who couldn't love Ronnie Corbett?
He was great. he was so
lovely.
great.
He's funny, yeah.
And his delivery method was just stunning.
It was the Shaggy Dog story. He was one of the
yes.
greatest perpetuators of the Shaggy Dog story.
Yeah, and he would go off at a tangent and then come back to it, and you had to sort of keep up with him. It was so
Shaggy
clever.
Dog story.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know how my dad wouldn't let me watch anything but British comedy when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And you know, that's probably why I'm scintillating now. But he was one of my heroes. Him and Ronnie Barker and Dave Allen, and you know, all those guys. Yeah. And he was just such a you're right, Uncle Leigh. It was the Shaggy. You would be compelled to listen to the very end and say
it was brilliant story.
Right.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Denise Robertson, the TV agony aunt, country legend Merle Haggard, who was one of the real country people from
wild man.
Absolutely. TV celebrity David Guest, Victoria Wood, another comedy genius just like Ronnie Corbett. Oh man, Dinner Ladies, brilliant. What do you mean? I can go off, yeah?
Yeah, she was very good. But it just didn't appeal to me. That's all I'm saying, really. You know, I'm not casting aspersions on her ability as a performer, but I just didn't get on with her. I just didn't find her very funny.
And of course, one that you probably never heard of, Mr. Banks.
Who?
China. Joni Laura.
China?
Yeah, she was from the World Wrestling, actors group.
I fought her.
And you lost.
Well, yeah, as a matter of principle, I did.
Yeah.
I guess they're a bit on top of me.
We carry on in April. Lonnie Mack, and then, of course, the time where everything went into meltdown again was when Prince died at 57 years old.
Yeah. Oh, blind.
I couldn't believe this. I woke up to this news. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning, and he'd died. 5 o'clock in the morning our time, and he must have died. Or they must have announced it about 3 a.m. our time. And
yeah.
I was absolutely dumbstruck and actually wept because I don't do that very much. And I was rocked to my very core. When Purple Rain came out, I just started high school, and
so it was the music of your youth, really.
It really was. He and George Michael, and it was all because Wham had just released "Wake Me Up Before You Go" when I started high school as well. Mm-hmm. So all through my high school years and then into my early 20s, it was all about Prince. It was all about George Michael, and I was rocked to my very foundations with this one. And again. Yes, okay, there were drugs involved, and we know that there was prescription drugs involved, but what a legacy he left behind too.
Absolutely. We're going to rush through some of the others that passed as we're more than halfway through the show, and we're not halfway through the year yet. Guy Hamilton, the Bond director, Billy Paul, Me and Mrs. Jones, the chart star, Guy Clark, another country legend, John Barry from the Beastie Boys, Alan Young from that lovely series, Mr. Ed. Oh, that was so nice. The Megadeth drummer, Nick Menza. But I'm not going to get it. I'm sorry, I'm going to get this wrong. But a genius actor, Burke Kwok from Pink Panther.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he was. He was a good actor. He was
Absolutely brilliant.
He was always a support actor. Really, I don't think he ever made. He might have done it.
I don't think he was ever lead on anything, but he was a fabulous support actor. Carla Lane, who wrote the Live of Birds, and this one was just, well, we all expected it, but it was one of those things because I absolutely adored this man. The one and only boxing legend, Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay in the early days. What a super positive guy. And he was truly an inspirational to loads of kids who were in the ghettos in America. And what a lovely job he did. Henry McCulloch from Wings met him once in Nashville, surprisingly.
Oh, right,
Who was the other guitarist in Wings? Not Paul McCartney.
It certainly wasn't Paul McCartney.
The other guy. Oh no, forgotten. But the pair of them walked into the Grand Ole Opry Hotel.
Sorry, Eric, and walked out again.
No, they walked up to... I was with my BBC PA, and they walked over to us and said, do you mind if we jam on the stage? And I said, do we mind? Of course we don't mind. You can fill your boots sort of thing. And my PA looked at me and went, who's that then?
So they got a kettle and some strawberries out, didn't they?
Yeah, something like that. Anton Yelchin, the Star Trek star Chekhov, also
That
left
was
us...
horrible.
That was a bit sad, that. And
The 27 Club, it's a curse, I'm telling you.
it is, isn't it?
Well, the 27 Club's always been around, isn't it? 27 is an amazing figure. If you think how many people... You see, I if I could just say something very quickly. I'm not actually involving Anton Yelchin in this, but when you think of the 27 Club, the people who have died at that age are really and a lot of the people we're talking about now are the real, true shaman of our world. Yeah. And these people dedicate their lives to living on a different plane than us so that they can actually bring us entertainment and make other people rich.
Absolutely.
And that is... the burden of their life is that the brains get scrambled because the focus is different than anybody else's focus, and then very often, sadly, they die young.
They do. Funkadelic star Bernie Worrell. Funkadelic were a great band. They really were. God, dear, the amount of times I played their tracks. Scotty Moore, that was Elvis's guitarist, he passed away. Then Carolina Hearn, the comedy actress, and we didn't expect that, did we?
No, well, if you I think people who were in that sort of circle and the coterie that she was in, really, you did, like the Hook out of the whatever band he was in, because he's a bit of a knob, really. But he was married to her for a while, and she had so many demons. She made me and Rachel look like perfection.
Oh, my
and
word.
It was those demons that killed her.
Oh, well. The suicide punk pioneer, Alan Vega, died. And then this one really hit me hard. Kenny Baker, who was the original Star Wars R2-D2.
Yep.
Oh.
Why did that hit you so hard?
Because I love Star Wars.
Interesting. I'm not knocking it. I was just interested to see why.
There's something... I don't know if you remember when the trilogy was first completed. A lot of cinemas, and it was late at night when they did it. They did like 12 hours of Star Wars back to back,
right.
And we went down to London, and people thought I was bonkers, and I'm going, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And because you actually watched the films in the right order as well, which was stunning, not in the way they came out.
Again, when the first movie came, I was 6 when the first movie came out, and of course that first core trilogy.
Yeah.
Again, this is all through my youth. This is all through my childhood, my formative years. And you get a great role model like Princess Leia, for starters.
Yes.
And that was just really powerful. But Kenny Baker, what a dude!
Absolutely
Seriously.
fantastic.
Do you remember Crossroads?
Yes.
And it was famous. I quite like watching it now and again, but it was famous for its rickety sets and its bad timing and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I saw Star Wars, the TV programs, not the films particularly, but I saw it in that sort of ilk. It just all seemed a bit rickety and not quite put together properly.
It was.
Boy.
I mean, you both know, and everybody out there knows, I'm not exactly a movie fan, but I genuinely have the DVDs of everything, and as soon as the Rogue One comes out on DVD here, I will buy it.
Oh, I saw that
I
at the
respect that.
Boxing Day.
Yeah, it's a wonderful movie.
Oh, so good, and it explains so much.
Absolutely. The Villa Cup hero, Dalian Atkinson, died in August, along with Gene Wilder, another comic genius.
Yeah. 83, though. It's not that frightening when he's 83, is it? It's not that
But
upsetting.
it's still sad, It's still.
It's sad.
Still touches you in a way. I mean, one of the very first. My father would only let me watch British comedy. My mother would only let me watch Mel Brooks.
All right.
So that's why I'm a bit twisted, I reckon, too.
Yeah.
But Blazing Saddles was one of the first Mel Brooks movies I ever watched. And I had a huge crush on Gene Wilder. It wasn't Willy Wonka for me. It was Blazing Saddles.
Oh, yeah, what a movie that is. That's fabulous.
No.
Alexis Arquette. Arquette. Is it Arquette or Arquette?
Arquette, dear, Arquette.
Okay. Transgender
Arquette.
Transgender actress, which is hard to say for me. And again, somebody that led the way to sort of say, actually, do you know what? We're all right.
Of course you did.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the best performances he ever gave was in The Wedding Singer. That Boy George character was just so funny.
Couldn't agree with you more. Sound of Music Lies, Sharman Carr, Arnold Palmer, the golfing legend, his legacy goes on all around the world. And Leigh then mentioned Jean Alexander, Corrie's or Coronation Street's Hilda Ogden.
Yeah, there again, she was a woman who'd been around in theatre for a lot longer than even Rachel, and she'd done all sorts of different things. She was a singer. I think she'd been in sort of dance troupes. I can't remember which ones they were, and then she'd been a sort of minor actress around theatre. She'd made films, and then she ended up in Coronation Street. And I met her a couple of times, and she was just a very nice, demure little middle-aged. She never seemed to be young. She always seemed to be old, but she was very charming and very demure, and she lived out I think in Southport. And she was just a nice, but again, she was,
she's one of those old-fashioned stars that had her feet on the ground all the time.
Absolutely, particularly when that Leonard Ogden, whatever he was called, was about.
Stan Ogden.
Stan.
Oh, sorry, I don't watch Coronation Street at all. However, I know the actors. That's my sister's fault, actually. She used to be. We used to have to watch Crossroads, followed by Coronation Street, and then when EastEnders came along, we had to watch that as well.
What about Emmerdale?
No.
Ooh.
Oh.
Never watched that
Emmerdale's brilliant.
Is it?
It's really funny. It's an everyday tale of country folk, but unlike The Archers, it's actually realistic.
Yeah, but isn't it set around a pub?
Yeah, which is another reason it's
That's your reason for watching it, that's for sure. The chart singer Pete Burns died from the song, well, the one is You Spin Me Round. Which is a great single. Bobby V was 73, and if you don't know...
Can I just interrupt here?
What's that?
Bobby V? He's the man who launched Bob Dylan's career. Bob Dylan was his pianist.
It was actually.
So it's his fault.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I see.
It's his fault. And of course, you actually, people will go, well, who's Bobby V? And I bet you know him, because his music has been used on adverts. Yeah. It's like a rubber ball, you come bouncing back to me. And they had to do it like that in the 60s, which is really weird. Leonard Cohen, he died at the age of 82. I'm going to shut up.
Well, if I may jump in here, H, because I interviewed Leonard Cohen, and he was probably about 60 then. And he was one of the most urbane, gentle, most charming, witty, And he wasn't a gloriously beautiful looking man, but he had so much charisma that he could charm the pants off anybody at all. And I bet he talked.
What are you trying to tell us, Uncle Leigh?
Yeah, did you get a room
No,
or what?
no. Apart from me, I kept my pants on in his presence.
That's a first, ladies and gentlemen.
And he was just, he again was one of the shaman of rock and roll. And what an amazing life he had when I think he was 73 when he found out that his pension pile that he put away had been nicked by his manager. And so in his dotage, he had to go back on the road and start touring the world.
Good
and
Lord.
he did it. And then he moved. He became he lived out in, I think it was Montreal. He got a house and he had a place in New York and was seen with his hat on walking around the streets. Yeah. But he lived for a long time as the chauffeur, and in his later life, I'm sorry, as the chauffeur of Guru. And that's where he lived. He lived as a monk. What a charming...
Nice. Yeah, charming little story. Robert Vaughan, the actor, most famed, of course, for Ducky's Mate.
Ducky?
Ducky's Mate.
Who's Ducky? Ducky.
You don't know Ducky?
Oh, I've done this every time he mentions Ducky. It's one of those SUVDIWWW.boring.com shows.
No, he said new way to introduce Orville.
No, how can...
I'm saying Ducky now, I'm going to do Orville.
My gasp is flabbered. I mean, how can you not watch NCIS?
No, I don't. I genuinely don't.
Yeah.
Is it?
They're all the same. It's like crime happens, solve crime, end of...
No, do you not look at the... I'm going to sound like you two now. Do you not follow the subplots?
That's it. That's the subplots are so deep that you can't catch on.
Co-workers' sexual tension for 4 or 5 seasons, finally culminating in death or baby or both.
Or getting shot. Anyway, Robert Vaughan starred alongside the Ducky from NCIS, who famously played Elia Kuriakin in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Absolutely brilliant series that was, and so ahead of its time. And I tell you what, it's worth watching an old episode of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And while you watch it, just think 2017. And look at the things that they use on there to communicate, etc., and go, blimey, they got one of those in the shop down the road now. And it's
like Star Trek.
Yeah. No, from Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, I know, but it's like watching Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. It's really weird. Leon Russell died at the age of 74. He was a big rock legend in the US of A. Not so much around other areas, but certainly in the US of A.
He was in a bit alternative. I interviewed him as well. Yeah. And he was just a wonderful. These people, particularly when they come from like New Orleans, the whole basis of the career is New Orleans. Yeah. They've got there's a bit of like rawness and gruffness in the voice from the lifestyle and stuff like that. But when you talk to them, they aren't actually of this world. They're charming and you want to be near them, but they're slightly lifted just beyond it. And Leon Russell was one of those shaman and one of those minor gods of this world.
A bit like you then.
Me, I'm a minor god. Eric says I'm a minor god.
Well, you're definitely lifted from this world, that's for sure. A gentleman I had the pleasure of meeting, and it always makes me giggle every time I see the Smurfs programme come on the TV, even here, was Colonel Abrahams. And he was enormous. He made Lee Banks look little. And that's no kidding. He was just enormous. And when when he shook my hand, it was like 2 hands, like my 2 hands together, shaking my one hand. It was really, but such a gentle giant. And he was just a lovely man, absolutely lovely. Florence Henderson from the Brady Bunch.
This broke my heart. It was very sad. I mean, the mum that we all sort of had, her and Elizabeth Montgomery in Bewitched when I was in school. And she was just stellar, but she had a huge career. Read about her one day. She's so interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this wholesome television.
Yeah.
Very wholesome television. Ron Glass died at the age of 71, a US TV star. And then, of course, we lost Manuel, Andrew Sachs from Fawlty Towers. Yes, Mr. Fawlty. Hello. Manuel! Slap. Actually, it's where I get the slap of Leigh from. I'm sure it is. Peter Vaughan from the Game of Thrones.
Oh, he was lovely. I love that show, and he was a wonderful maester, and he was just terrific. And he was also a blind maester in that. He played that role so well, and he was like the Yoda of the Night's Watch.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Wolves midfielder Ian Cartwright. He died at the very tragic age of 52. And then one of Rachel's heroes, Glenn John. Who was
John Glenn even.
John Glenn, I do beg your pardon. First to orbit the Earth as an American, 95 years old. So he did all right, didn't he?
He did great, and he was a senator for 25 years as well. He
was a bit of a space.
He was the oldest man in space as well. He was in his 70s when he went on the space shuttle.
Absolutely.
Was he?
Yes.
Of course he was, of course.
Because
yes.
when he stopped being a senator, he asked NASA if he could retrain. And they all thought he was a bit bonkers. But his medical levels were so good that they said, yeah, you can go. And they were shocked.
That's why he went to 95. I mean, for goodness sakes, he would have cleared more medicals than the three of us put together.
Well, that's very true.
And that's not hard to do, really.
Then, sadly, we lost Greg Lake at 69. And I have to say, it's one of my... It's so close to Bing Crosby. I can't choose between the two. White Christmas and I Believe in Father Christmas. And the Greg Lake, the production on that track is awesome.
Did you ever see him live?
Yes, I did see him live once, actually.
Brilliant. What a show.
Oh.
Upside down, playing his organ, suspended from the ceiling upside down. With knives between the keys.
Absolutely. One of Leigh
Palmer's still alive?
What?
Is Palmer still alive?
He's the one that's left.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because Emerson and Lake we lost this year.
Yeah, both of them, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
That young lady's right.
I know, she's very right.
And left as well.
Yes. And apparently she's got a middle which holds the top and bottom together.
And a head to cap it all.
Mid was drinking, thank goodness.
These two waxed lyrical about it. A. Gill died at the age of 82, the writer and critic.
62.
62.
It was very sad. A. Gill was probably one of the doyens of British and international journalism, and he came out with this statement towards the end of his life, because he didn't last long after he discovered that he had what he described as the full Monty of cancer.
Yeah, absolutely, and he did actually, which was quite sad. Ian McCaskill, who was probably not known to everybody, he would have been known today to everybody because
the world's worst weatherman.
He was so funny.
No.
He had the most driest wit. You had to
Not
listen.
dry weather, though.
No, that's true. And he was one of those weathermen from around the late 70s who became a megastar for being a weatherman.
Absolutely.
You know, he just was. The Derby-winning jockey sadly died at 55. That's Walter Swinburne. And then, of course, we had a really tragic loss. Zsa Zsa Gabor at 99. Bless her.
Who did nothing
That
but
was
be
sad.
famous.
That was sad.
And her adopted son died like a couple of weeks later. He died the other day. He had a motorcycle
absolutely.
accident.
But of course, Zsa Zsa Gabor was originally from Hungary, just down the road from me. Well, about an hour and a bit away. But she
was famous for being famous.
She was one of the first real reality TV stars, if you think about it.
That's
I'm
true.
thinking, we were both having to think then.
You had to think, but when you think about it, that's what she did. But only her reality TV was reality silver screen.
Who was a sister? She had a famous sister. Who was a sister?
Ava.
That's it, of course. Yes.
Then of course,
Was Zsa Zsa the one on Green Acres?
yes.
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
so stupid. It was
And
brilliant.
then, of course, and I'm going to tell you a quick little story to preempt this. My little brother was very seriously ill in his 30s, and I mean very seriously ill. And he was told that things were better just in time for his 40th birthday. So his kids got 2 tickets to go and see Status Quo. And at the time I was working in London, so I phoned the management, said, look, I don't want to blag tickets. They said, oh, you can have tickets if you want, Eric. I went, no, we've got tickets. Any chance we can go backstage? They said, of course, no problem. So as we're driving up Wembley Way in London, with the old Twin Towers in front of us, this huge black guy jumps out in front of the car and barks at the window, Mr. Wiltsher. And my brother goes, yeah. He's like all nervous. He said, park over there, sir. And David just did what he was told. It was really funny to see his face. And he said, right, come with me. And we went right in front of everybody to this little wooden door on the side of Wembley. He takes us downstairs, and there's Rick Parfitt and Francis Rossi, both there waiting. And they said, oh, you're David. You're the important one. I thought that's nice. That's really nice, isn't it? They treated my brother to the most wonderful time. They had photographs with him, and after the concert, we were collected by the security people again and taken backstage to have dinner. We had roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, and that was Rick Parfitt, who died just a couple of weeks ago. And there is a huge tribute programme to him on Sunday here on RTI as we pay tribute to Rick. 18 hours of Status Quo. Rocking on.
That's one song.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You don't know your history. We have to move through a couple of them very, very quickly. Liz Smith, the wonderful actress, she died. The comedy actress, she died at 95. Then George Michael.
That broke me.
That was rather sad, wasn't it?
I thought I was broken until the next couple of days rolled by, but I was broken that day. Broken.
Absolutely. Then Ricky Harris, Richard Adams was sad. Then Carrie Fisher, of course, Princess Leia. And the real cap it all to end it off was a couple of days after Carrie died. One day, her beautiful mum, Debbie Reynolds, also died. So the only thing I can think of is...
broken heart.
Well, yeah, but at least they're together now, and the great maker will look after the pair of them.
We can't. No. I want everybody to stop saying that, because there is a granddaughter. There is Billy Lord, who is Carrie Fisher's daughter, who is now without her mum and her granny in the space of one day. Yes. And Todd Fisher, who is without his sister and his mother in one day. It's very nice that everybody says yes, they're together now, but. No. We've got to be thinking about these poor people left behind. Of
course, Rach, absolutely.
And a double funeral. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's you're 100% right again, and it is tough for these guys, and I can't even imagine what a mum would go through having her daughter die before her. So it must have been horrible. It must have been horrible for Debbie Reynolds. But again, somebody who's left a huge legacy behind for so many generations to come. And a lot of her work was just timeless. Just absolutely timeless.
The genuine old-style Hollywood triple threat.
Yeah.
She could do it all.
Yep.
Back when you had to. The best thing I've ever seen still to this day is her and Donald O'Connor and Gene Kelly doing... that fantastic Good Morning,
yes.
Singing in the Rain. It's genius. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
She had that wonderful old-fashioned skill. She could tap dance. She could dance. She could sing. She was an actress. She was just a rounded super person for Hollywood. Really was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Very quickly, boys and girls, what are you doing for New Year, Rach?
I'll be asleep by 10. I think New Year's is really overrated, and given the fact that I don't drink, it's also really boring because drunk people are boring to me. But also because I'm 5 foot, crowded places are not good for me. I get very claustrophobic. I don't live in a world where I've transcended above everybody else. I really,
That's very
literally
true.
haven't.
And Lee, what
So
about you?
nothing.
Okay,
Well,
Lee, very quickly.
We're staying at this wonderful hotel, the whatever they called it at the beginning of the show, the Crutherland House Hotel, which is a dowager house in just on the outskirts of Glasgow. And in the gardens, there is a waterfall. So we've decided we're going to take a bottle of champagne, just me and the illustrious Andrea, and we're going to drink champagne at midnight by the side of the waterfall.
And fall in.
And drink it, probably drink it.
Right, very quickly, I've got to do this. Can I wish both of you a very sincere, on behalf of all the listeners, happy New Year and a prosperous 2017. And thank you for everything you've done in the show. It's just been super amazing. And with that, say goodbye, Sooty.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
And I'll be in Cork if you want to join us. But now it's directly back to Scotland again.